Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for dropping in here for some listener questions on a Wednesday. My friends Pam Forrester and Scott Gardner joining me today to have some fun as we talk Disney with you. Today, we get some great questions about rope dropping, Animal Kingdom, heading over from Saratoga Springs, whether to take the car or take the bus, and the best few attractions to do once you get in the park right away. So we talk about that. We also discuss whether to go to a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party for a guest who has to take a very early flight home the next morning. Kind of extending a work trip means that this listener is going to have to stay up all night long. But we kind of said YOLO, but we talk about the logistics involved, so it's a fun discussion there. But, you know, we always empower folks to make bad decisions. And then we have a lengthy discussion on why attractions like Spaceship Earth and places like World Showcase are so important. So see if you agree with us with our discussion there. Don't forget, today's show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible. I cannot thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2752 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great midweek, and we are getting ready for some fun stuff this week. But before that, of course, it is time for your listener questions. Another all-star crew assembled here to tackle these Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and Disney Cruise Line situations that might pop up. Who knows? Because we are live on all the locations as we record these shows on Monday afternoons. Scotty G getting ready to head out to sea later this week on the Disney Dream. Joining us from Must See Adventures, Scott. Happy Wednesday. What's up?
Happy Wednesday. Yeah, just having a nice week. I like the cooler temps we're kind of having early on in this week. It was a hot summer, wasn't it? Holy cow. So enjoying some of the cooler temps right now. I don't want to get too cool though. Like I don't want it to be like wintertime. I'm not trying to put that in the atmosphere.
Yeah, slow your roll there, man. Yeah, let's keep it like this.
Well, you're going on a cruise. It won't be wintertime.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I gotta look at the forecast though. I don't know if there's any like H words coming my way. You know, like you got to worry about that this time of year.
I like the way you put that. Yeah, don't say it out loud.
Hey, I'm not gonna actually say what the word is. Yeah, you gotta sometimes worry about that in late August, early September. But yeah, happy to be here on a Wednesday and answer some listener questions. We got the best audience and ready to put on my thinking cap and answer some questions.
All righty, and she is back. Everybody's been asking, where is Pam Forrester? And my wife, actually, is she on a cruise? Is she at Walt Disney World? Is she in Pittsburgh? I said, I don't know, but she's going to be back next week on the show. So here she is, Pam Forrester, Coner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, glad to have you back. What's up?
I'm back. I've been a lot of different places. Walt Disney World, actually, for some of it. And then we were doing some moving of Hannah and just a bunch of different stuff. So we've been doing a ton of stuff. But yes, now I'm back. I'm actually back for a while.
Wow.
It's my fall. Well, I don't know. You know what? I've been looking at some of the rates on Disney Cruise Line lately, and they're pretty tempting. So now I'm like, how long will I actually be back?
I have to, but it's
come sail with us this Labor Day weekend, fam.
I know, right? I'll just you hop on a yes. There have been great rates. I'm just like, it's for real. They are.
I know. I gotta stop looking though, because it's like football season. I can't. Once football season's over, January, we're good to go. But
that's a long stretch.
It is, but it's Mallory's senior year, right? I can't. I blocked it out. Like these seasons go by too quick. I mean, we have our season tickets for Mizzou. It's football season. I'm rocking the jersey. It's gonna be a big year out of the zoo. And we start off with 6 straight home games. Man, who made that schedule? That's just brutal for us.
Dang.
I
Then
know.
the travel will be intense for a while.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like we got to go because we don't live in our town like Scott. Like Scott lives right by his stadium. Like when we go to home games at Mizzou, it's a 2-hour trip each way to get to the stadium, and then of course it's like game day traffic, and it's a whole scene. I mean, I love it, man. When I'm at Mizzou, dude, I'm in my element. Those are my people, but. It's a travel nightmare.
I can walk to the stadium in a quarter of the time it takes you to drive.
You're living the life. I bet you hear the drum line at your house.
I hear the band. I hear the band.
Yes. You're living my dream. Oh my God. I'd be so excited on a Saturday morning if I heard the drum line.
It's fun, man. It's a fun atmosphere.
I would be able to contain my excitement. All right. Dennis the Doughboy. Actually, that's his name right there on YouTube. Tuned in. Says, coming from Saratoga Springs. Do you drive or take the bus to Animal Kingdom for rope drop? And what ride do you prioritize, number 1 and number 2? I can tell you what the answer from Scotty G and Pam Forrest are going to be on the first part of the question. They're going to both say drive because they're drivers.
Yes. It's just because you can control it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the bus, I mean, the bus is great. It'll drop you closer than the parking lot will. So you save some steps that way. But I just like controlling the time a little bit more with my car. So that's why I like driving.
That's us too. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily saves me time or anything else, but I think at the end of the day, I can come and go as I please. And more importantly, Steve can come and go as he pleases. I think I've almost seen his head explode. If we ever take the bus, if we walk out to the bus thing and like he has to wait like more than 35 seconds for a bus, it's like, Steve, we should be driven. I'm like, okay, well, first of all,
I relate to that so
much.
much.
Car yet, so just simmer down there a little bit. But yes, no, he just like. And I've said this before, he's so patient in other parts of his life, but like this is just one he's not. And it's fine. We rent a car like every time we're there. So we drive. But I will say for those who don't have that issue, like who are just like, I'm content with this. Yes. But I will say, if anything, in the morning, sometimes the bus situation is a little more frustrating because you want to get there and be there first thing in the morning. And at times, depending on where you're staying too, the bus could be full by the time it gets to your bus stop at the resort, depending on the resort.
Yep. And Saratoga is one of those situations with multiple stops. Yeah, so
it is. Yeah. So just think about that.
Yeah, because again, it is kind of that bus roulette thing, right? I mean, you could get lucky. Boom, you walk out there, it rolls up in 3 minutes, but you could walk out to your stop and it's always that, right? Oh, dude, it was, I'm headed to Animal Kingdom. I see Hakuna Matata pulling away, and then the next 5-7 buses are all going to be for every other park but Animal Kingdom. Like, but if you get in your car, you know exactly like what time you put the key in, you're out, you're going. So it's control, like Scott said.
I'll say when I'm at Saratoga Springs in general, I know this is specific to Animal Kingdom. I'm driving to every park, maybe not Magic Kingdom just because of the ticket and transportation center, but like from that resort, I'm driving for sure.
Yeah, like Nichelle says here also on YouTube, she says, you control the climate in your car. So you have that. And, Animal Kingdom has a great parking lot. Boom, it's easy in and out there. I mean, it's huge surface parking lot. You got the trams, piece of cake.
You're only missing out on hearing other people's plans for the day,
That's, and I mean, if you don't have a car, it's fine. I mean, I take the bus. I mean, but you have more control with a car. You're going to determine your own destiny. Now, second part of the question, what rides do you prioritize first right off the bat? What would you guys say for most people, because it's going to be different for everybody, but what do you guys prioritize first, 1 and 2 at Animal Kingdom?
Avatar.
Yeah, Flight of Passage, I think, is what's number 1.
Yeah, for sure. It just is. The line, that's like a line that gets long and stays that way all day. It just does. And the fact that Navi River is as long as it is,
that is nuts, because it's like it's a small world, but in Pandora,
not as good, not as long.
It's short. It is super short. Yeah, and they're not comfortable boats either. Yeah,
it is. So that I think if you're looking to do Everest, that's probably one to prioritize as well. But I always find too that the safari I think is better in the morning
Yes, I
or
agree
late
with
at
that.
night.
Yep. Because I don't
So,
do flight of passage. It kind of makes me want to hurl. So I go back for the safari because I think the animals are more active right off the bat, right off the jump. I
But
like
look at
that.
your app too to see like what's running,
mhm,
because sometimes you might get burned. Like if you go to Everest and then you find out it's not opening at part time, now you're all the way in the back of the park, and
mhm.
then you missed out on going to Flight of Passage or something. So like as you're entering, kind of open up the app just to see like if you can get any kind of indication if something's not going to open with the park, because that could burn you sometimes too.
That's good.
Does, and
Good
Everest
tip.
is one that frequently is
Yep.
not open first thing in the
Yeah.
morning. You just tend to know these things after going there for a while, but it's one that's frequently offline, and you'll see there on the app it'll say temporarily closed, and that temporarily means something's going on. So,
The thing about Everest too is that even though it's like a big e-ticket attraction in Animal Kingdom, it does eat people pretty well. I mean, throughout the day, you won't see huge waits at that one. Like, and especially if you're willing to do single rider, you can get through that line pretty quick throughout the day. Like
and I like
it
that
goes pretty
line.
quick.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
There's so much to
Great.
see in that line, though.
You can
It's
see animal
actually,
scats and
Yeah. Poop.
all kinds of stuff.
I'm always amazed at the efficiency though. Like you were talking about, like how it eats people up. Like when they're like loading that queue and
Yes.
like I think
It's
it
a
was it like 16 rows, so they felt like 32 people in that vehicle, and you see one loading and the next one's ready to go. Like I'm always impressed at how fast they can load those vehicles. It's pretty good.
yeah.
It's precision. It really is. It's like a dance. Like there are certain rides where you watch them load and it's like, the whoever's loading you is just sort of like, okay, yeah, here and there,
Yeah,
right?
for
They're
real.
not really paying attention. Not at Everest. You're like, you here, it's like the gates open, everyone gets in and it moves on. So,
You're
Yeah.
right. It's so good.
My wife and I
mhm.
always go sense of urgency. They they either
Yes.
have it or they don't, and
Right.
we
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and you
talk
as a
about it.
guest have to be quick too, or else that gate closes. I've had that gate
Yes.
close on
Exactly.
me once because I was like, I was being like a
Focus,
silly dad, like taking a selfie or something, and then boom, like the gate closed. I had to ask him to reopen it, and like I
sir.
probably messed up the whole
Quit,
operation.
sir. Quit
Oh,
fiddling with the phone
no.
and get on the train. This train is headed to Nepal. Let's go. It's going up the mountain. All right, Diane's got a question here. We appreciate Diane so much. She's always here with us. Hey, BOGP, traveling in February with our group of girls for Princess Weekend. I believe today is actually Princess Day, or it's Princess Week. I saw something on social media. I would like to plan a dinner for our group to carb load somewhere in the Disney Springs area. What restaurant would you suggest for the evening before our 10K? I would not, this is me, I would not suggest, Terralina, is that the one? Don't go there.
Yeah, it was
We
just
had a
kind of disappointing the time that
It
I've
wasn't
been
great.
there.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
Pam nodding. Yeah.
It wasn't
There's a
the
reason why it's
best.
always available.
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
trying to be
like,
mean, but it wasn't the best.
That is actually the Olive Garden of
Yeah. Speaking of Friday, go back to
Mm.
Friday show. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't suggest that. So what? Help Diane here. Besides me being negative and mean.
I think Maria and Enzo's is a good choice in the Disney Springs area if you're looking to carbo load. They have pasta. I believe that the pasta is handmade there. It's part of the Patina Group, and they own a few of the restaurants in the Disney Springs area, but you can get good food there. It's a cute little, story. I think that that's a good choice.
Scotty, any other
yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, that's where I was going to. Like, is there like is the counter service like pizza place next door to there like still a thing too? So like you can even
Hmm.
like you can kind of even snack on some pizza there too. I know they're trying to like probably have the bigger group of girls like eat there, but like I like to come up with different answers. Actually, Beth has a good one too with Enzo's Hideaway. I think they kind of have some good pastas there too. But Maria and Enzo's is kind of where I was leaning towards too. Like, I just love the airport storytelling vibe that
I
you're hitting
know.
on. I remember the first time. I think we went there over Marathon Weekend when they first like soft opened. I think all three of us were there as a group,
Hmm.
and I remember like Mallory and Emily. I think got like these kids meals, and they came out like an old like airport like food
Yep.
tray. I thought it was like the cutest thing,
Right.
like
Those
how
were
they came
cool.
out like that. It's a cool restaurant, and I think it gets forgotten about sometimes too. So good pick.
That is true, and it's right. It's got a great location. Everybody walks past it all the time, but it's one of hidden in plain sight kind of situations. All right, Ashley's got a question over in the inbox. It says, Halloween fun or horror? Here we go. I have been to Central Florida in October for work. My colleagues and I are making the 2-hour drive back to Orlando to leave on Thursday night at 5 p.m. for MCO. I just discovered there is a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party that night, and tickets are still available. It's a Halloween miracle. I could change my flight to 7 a.m. Friday morning, but I have 2 important questions. First, 1, what can I do with my luggage? I have a carry-on size suitcase and backpack. I've never done lockers before and don't want to chance getting through the security line with that much stuff. Can I leave it with Bell Services at the hotel, even if I'm not checking in? Number 2, knowing the party ends at midnight and I'd have to leave for the airport at 3 or 4 a.m., I could skip out on a hotel. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much will I regret this on Friday morning? Thanks so much for any info, or sorry, thanks so much for talking me into or out of this, Ashley. All right, so she has to be in Central Florida in October for work. Her colleagues, they're going to make a drive back to Orlando and they have to leave out on Thursday night at 5 p.m., but she's thinking about going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party that night and flying out on Friday morning. Should she do the Halloween party that night? She has a carry-on and a backpack. And what to do with that? Logistically, I mean, is this
I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Is this a YOLO? I mean, we're giving a YOLO on this one.
I mean, I like the idea of having a hotel room, though. I'm just gonna say, like,
100%.
I don't like the being homeless between like midnight and like 4 a.m. on your way to the airport. I don't know. Like, do you go to a Denny's and just hang out there for a few hours?
Dude,
like,
my dad sleeps in airports like he does when this situation arises.
Yeah, I don't like that part of it. So I also think I would just be too cranky later on in the day, you know. So I would still recommend the hotel room, even if it's just for like a few hours of sleep. Like even if it was like a value resort or something, you know. So, but I like the idea of extending the trip. Why not? The Halloween party is a lot of fun, so I'd say go for it.
I agree. I don't like the idea of being homeless either. I mean, I understand that the room is an expense, but it solves a lot of problems. First of all, 2 hours of sleep is always better than no hours of sleep.
That's a good point. That's a good. We have a lot of pull quotes from this show already. I like that you're pro not being homeless too. That was a good one.
So that I think is important. Also, then your luggage, you'll be able to go ahead and check it in at that resort. Luggage services are reserved for folks staying there. I'm not going to tell you that maybe people have, used them when they weren't, but I'm just telling you, I'm going to give you the official answer because anything other than that would be a little irresponsible on my part. But just, seeing what that is, I think that you'll be happy with the room, even if you have the room, like you have the opportunity to use the room maybe a little before the party too, because you probably won't be going in until 4 o'clock. So, and check-in time at the resort is 3 o'clock. So you might be lucky and get it a little earlier in the day and think about that. But I think you'll be happy if you have the room. It's just a home base, a place to take a quick shower if you need to, and a place to rest your head for a couple hours. So
I agree.
But yes, YOLO. I'm YOLO, pro YOLO. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, you're always going to have the story, even if this fails epically and you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have the worst like weekend after this because you crashed so hard, like you're going to have the epic story for decades. Like that's the way you look at it. Like the thing is you're going to roll into a weekend and you can recover. You might lose that whole weekend because you went too hard and too long. Yeah. Hopefully by Monday you're back at it. You've recovered and you have a great story. I mean, but hopefully it doesn't kill that. Doesn't take you 48 hours to bounce. But you had the party. Like
it's good. It's good. I think as you get older, as you age in life, to check in with yourself every now and then to see how good your recovery time is. Because sometimes you may overestimate that.
Are we all going back to our like college days here and saying like? Is the pain worth the, is the party worth the pain, kind of, because this is exactly basically what she just wrote in, like, should I? Well, I mean, you get a fun party there, but I mean, you're going to pay the piper on the back end of this thing.
You are. But it's very frequently worth it, if for nothing else than the story.
Hoping none of our college age kids hear this show.
And then this needs to be a Monday trip report too, because I really want to know how this plays out. I want to hear about it.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. All right, Jason, up I believe in the Lansing, there's Sparty country. So
Grand Rapids. He's an MSU guy though.
Yeah, he's a season ticket holder, I believe. Big tailgater. Spaceship Earth's going down for a refurb started on Monday. Any guess on what's going to happen? I think it's just a spruce up, but it's a pretty lengthy one though. I think it's going into the fall,
And wasn't this a delay of one that was supposed to happen, I believe, at one point, and then they delayed the refurbishment?
I think it was. Yeah, this is where we need Ricky for this one. I don't know what's going on with this one.
Yeah. I'd love if it was going back to that whole like gutting that we're gonna do, right? And like before the pandemic, do you remember that artist rendering we saw like at a D23? Like, oh man, it looked so good. That's not what this is going to be, unfortunately. But
so tell me about. I forgot about that one. What would you like to see them do to Spaceship Earth if you had the? Just
spruce up the whole thing. I mean, just take up the whole. I mean, just the story has been going on for a long time, right? Like this whole version that we have, and I'm not knocking it. I know like Judi Dench gets some heat, like with the script and everything and all that, but it's just. I haven't seen a different version since I've been going to Walt Disney World, and I would just like to see a different narration, a different storyline. And I think when you go backwards, like the technology we happen to know about, we've known about for a lot of years now. So let's get some new technology that we know
I agree there. Those screens, like we could do without that. I think that is so much wasted space. So you never got to see like the scene on the right where they had the family and the
mom talking to her daughter.
Basically,
I never saw that.
It was basically like FaceTime. I mean, which I understand, but that could if you update those scenes, that was so much more exciting to see than it was this. I understand maybe how long have those screens been in there now? 10 years, probably more.
Probably more it's been since I've been going, and now. Is like 11 or 12 years at least.
That's crazy how fast time goes.
I mean, I understand the choose your own adventure thing is kind of fun for the kids, but like, dang, it's been going on for a long time.
I've chosen my own adventure so often. I cannot choose a new adventure.
Right? You've done every possible combination.
I have, and I try each time to sort of stack it so that like maybe I could see something, but
because that. Those like windows are behind there, right? They're just covered up because they probably didn't destroy them. The windows are covered up right there on your right as you're coming down the hill. And what Disney does best essentially is storytelling. And I know that the thing with an attraction like Spaceship Earth is it's hard to tell because that's at that point they're telling the future, and it's always hard to keep up with the future because as soon as you put that in that window, technology is going to surpass in a year or whatever that you put in that window because it moves so quickly. But come up, I guess it's like that future retroism or whatever they call it, where it doesn't have to be exactly what the future is, but make it because I enjoy seeing that stuff. But
it seems to be loaded really heavy with the ancient part of communications, and I feel like we have some opportunities maybe. There is nothing that we're looking forward to really at this point, except for the little story where you choose your own adventure, right? But we aren't really looking at things that haven't been yet. I mean, it's all in the past, basically, at this point. Mm-hmm. So I think there are some opportunities to maybe present some future communication that is way like out there as a possibility. I don't know. The whole last 10 minutes of the ride, I feel like could go. We could do something different with that.
I'm trying to think because I prefer because I put this in the clubhouse the other day about the refurb actually and like your favorite narrator because you went back to like Walter Cronkite, Jeremy Irons, Judi Dench. I preferred Jeremy Irons. Like I thought that was just good. But again, here's another hot take of mine. I think that you always like the one, like when you came into like the fandom. Like Jeremy Irons was when I first started going to Walt Disney World. That's when I discovered Spaceship Earth. But it was also around the millennium too, which I think was when, for me, when Epcot was at its peak. Again, I wasn't around in the early 80s or, when, Epcot, like I'd have liked to seen that, but I wasn't around, so I don't know. But I love Jeremy Irons' narration. What about you, Pam? You've seen them all, so what would you prefer?
There's about Walter Cronkite, of course,
True.
doing that. My family went to Epcot when I was in school within a year of when Epcot opened. It was probably the year that Epcot opened. So I saw that original narrator, but I remember Walter Cronkite more than anything. And the other thing I really remember, and even to this day, that scene where they're going to the moon. So there's a few things that really resonate with me in that scene. First of all, when my stepdad first had his practice, he had that terrarium.
That's the one relic of Walt Disney World I would love to have.
Terrarium.
That's terrarium. Yes.
Terrarium. Okay. Yes. So he had that in his waiting room office. And also, it is not there any longer, but there was this huge lamp that had this huge arm and then this sort of bulbous thing, that this lamp is very mid-century modern or 60s or whatever. Even though this was not the 60s or whatever, it was probably just a free lamp he got from somewhere, right? Along with the terrarium. So these are things I remember being in his waiting room. And every time you see it, I take a picture of it and text it to my parents. And then, of course, when they're there, they take a picture of it and send it to me. But I just have really fond memories of that, that I relate to that scene every time. So think what a time that would have been to be kids and see people walking on the moon. That was a really cool part of it. With that,
I love this story, by the way. I'm glad you're sharing that. This is what it's kind of all about. I just love that story. It's a fun memory.
So. And I lost the word terrarium. Did you see that? Right here live on the podcast. Totally lost the word.
Dude, after 18 years, this is happening more and more. I'm just saying.
Right.
It's the way of things around these parts anymore. I forgot a super simple word the other day, and I had to type it on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I can't.
Right.
Please take me to the doctor, Pam. Take me to the doctor.
People to support us during the podcast.
I know, it's so scary. It's and I'm on. The scary thing is we do this live. We used to not do this live. It's so scary. Anyway, but I mean, I love that you bring that up though, Pam, because I think that Disney needs to not take scenes out though, like that little niche scene of the Apollo landing on the moon and, the garage scene of the, it's not Steve Jobs, but of the computer being made in the garage in California and all these things, because I love to see grandpa now. It's just scary that you have grandpa talking about this or, dad or whatever, pointing out, look at that. There's a Fleetwood Mac album on that wall. And it's a nod to, because that's a Mac computer. And I had that Fleetwood Mac, album. You got, then it spurs a conversation after the attraction of grandpa talking to the grandkid about what an LP was back in the day and who the Fleetwood Mac band was and how they went to a concert, one little, element on a wall in an attraction like Spaceship Earth can bring grandpa and the granddaughter together, and they could be talking about that over, I don't know, ribs and back at Regal Eagle later on in the day. I think that you can't discount that kind of stuff.
What about in the beginning though, where it's just a movie of the cavemen fighting the mastodon?
See, I think that's super valuable from an educational standpoint, because I taught 6th grade social studies, and that was our curriculum. It was prehistory.
The mastodon?
Yes, we taught prehistory in 6th grade science, social studies. Wow. And so, what I always told Pam was man, if I could just bring I didn't teach the social studies. I taught science to the grade level, but the Mrs. Timmons next door taught social studies to the grade level. And I told her, if I could just bring our class to ride Spaceship Earth, and don't worry, I showed them the video, but it isn't the same, right? I showed them a ride through. But if I could just take them and show them that, how engaging would that be to show them the history of communication, right? And how, because it's so simple. I mean, it's not rocket science. people didn't have a language originally, right? They just got, but then everybody, for some reason, let's just all get in a circle and get the mastodon in between us and throw rocks at it till we kill it. I mean, dude, it's like a football team, it's like, it's like we're all working together to accomplish a goal, and how,
Right.
now
I see the point from that.
But I'm saying, like, from that, we've developed into, think about tech. It's mind blowing to think about what, communication has become today. Like, what are we doing right here? It's like we're sitting together. You're in Pittsburgh. I'm in St. Louis. Scott's in Michigan. It didn't matter. You could be in Australia and Scott could be in Japan, and we could do this just as easy. But back then, I think about this stuff all the time. It blows my mind. But I still think we need that kind of stuff at Walt Disney World, because it's so easy. Because when kids discover this in their social studies classrooms in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, whenever they teach it now, I think the kids that go to a place like Epcot have such a leg up on other kids, because they'll be like, "Oh, I saw that on Spaceship Earth." Maybe I'm reaching too far. Scott, what do you think about that? Do you think Emily has a leg up because of that stuff?
No, I kind of think Emily has turned out the way she is because of some of this stuff. Some of the places that we took her to when she was younger, and she just like kind of grasped that. I will say though, like I kind of dig that scene, but it definitely needs to be like on some HD screen now or something, because you can like barely see that screen when you get up there. I think that's kind of where Pam was going with it too. It's just like it is so fuzzy and grainy, like you can't even like see it anymore. But yeah,
I would like to see that be audio animatronic, perhaps,
or
something. Maybe go. I know, but I can remember when Hannah, from the time she was little, she would say to us, "Oh, let's go ride and learn about communication." And she was just like this little tiny kid. And I was like, are you talking about? You are a mess. But yes, she did remember this was all about communication. Again and again, she would tell us, this is where you learn about communication. Like,
because I do hear people say, it's Disneyfied. It's not, you're teaching your kids. It's not real history, but it's what it is. It's enough of history that, like, for example, we're going way deep on Spaceship Earth today, but we don't have a ton of questions. So I'm glad we get to explore this. And it's back to school season. So, and, Emily just went to college, and, so here
now
we go.
Senior year.
Exactly. So her education's on her mind. Exactly. Yeah. She's a teacher. So when you go past, like the scene with like the Greek scene, right? Where, have the beginnings of kind of formal education, right? You have, I forget who it is, but you got a teacher there kind of presenting to a couple students that are just, like loving that they're being taught to. And then I think about
Socrates.
Socrates,
right? Socrates,
yeah. And I'm like, this is not how education looks in my school district at this point. They're so excited to be having a teacher there, giving them knowledge. Well, that has fallen apart over the past, couple, hundreds of years. But it's interesting because, like, when you talk about a culture like Greece later on in 6th grade social studies, they'll have just a little nugget, and they can kind of see like, oh, I saw that. And that's it's a brief moment, but it makes a connection. In education is about making connections. The printing press, it's such an abstract concept to kids, but when you scoot past that and you see, like, they show like, the monks trying to scribe it by hand, and they're sleeping, because think about how hard that would be, really. But if I just tell them that in a 6th grade classroom in Florissant, Missouri, this suburb, and back then it was a classroom that didn't have air conditioning. It was hot. Nobody cared. Nobody listened to me. As much as I tried to make it exciting, they didn't listen. But if you showed them that, and showed them like these monks that are snoring, looking at that, and then scrolling by and actually seeing a machine, and let's go, boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. They know what a printing press is then. And then you can then that spurs the conversation. They don't learn everything about it, but then you can have the conversation. Well, okay, why now can information get distributed so much faster to so many more people? And then how can that change literacy in Europe and in other places over time? Yeah, I know I'm going way deep on Spaceship Earth, but I think those attractions are so important.
They're important. Yes,
they do. It is like the physical, the manifestation of the stories, and that always helps people make a connection, I think. And just to see it sort of like practical knowledge, they really do put it in a story format, and our brains are designed to learn a story, learn and remember a story. We aren't necessarily designed to remember a bunch of facts that we don't make a connection with. But if you tell us in a story that we find compelling in some way, then definitely that's something that we're going to do. And I think that's always what Epcot has done in some ways. Is it still doing that? Yeah, in certain ways it is. I mean, we rode the land when we were down there. I learn something every time I ride the land.
Mhm.
And even if it's just like exploring how I want to do something different in my own garden at home. But I always enjoy that. I like it and to think about it. And one of the things that I think is really hard, especially for those of you who garden, this, is you could do everything exactly right and things could not turn out as anticipated. It just,
Yes.
there's so many factors at work there, right? And I'm always amazed at the way that they tackle some of the stuff in the land. So I think there are still a lot of good stories there being told in Epcot, especially. I mean, take out like Future World, which I know is not called Future World anymore.
We're always going to call it Future
World.
World
I'm
on
calling
this
it Future
show.
World.
Yes.
This show
The rest
is
of my
going to be
life.
Future World. That's
Yes.
exactly it.
In 20 years, when we're still doing this podcast, and Epcot has gone back to changing the name
Yes.
to Future World, then we will again know what it is.
I think Ricky's the only like host or co-host that knows what the actual names are.
Yeah.
I can picture on my phone of what the lands are supposed to be, and I'm still like, no, I'm not. World of Discovery? No, what are we talking about here?
Discovery
Future World,
Cove, isn't that where
World
the
Showcase.
dolphins are? Whatever. Yeah,
Right? But there was a rumor recently about World Showcase getting a new land, right? I mean, you saw that sort of floating around, and I like that's interesting. But I think too, when I do World Showcase, you sort of, learn something about that too,
Oh,
even if
sure.
it's just like I don't like what they're eating there, or I do like that beer that they serve in that country, whether that's true or not.
It's funny. I know we got probably another question, but like I met with a coworker today. They're taking a 5 and a 9-year-old first time, and he was asking like which park should they go to? Should he go to all four? I was like, well, yeah, you should go to all four. And we started talking about Epcot, and I was talking about the edutainment piece of it, and like how it's not quite how it was at one point, like back in the day. But like, I still think your kids can learn so much from visiting Epcot, especially the front part of the park, Future World. That's what we're
Correct.
gonna call it, right?
Future World.
But and they can have fun at Frozen Ever After and some of those other rides too. But I really I was talking about Spaceship Earth and the land, and like those are things people forget about. But like I think it's really important for your kids at ages 5 and 9 to experience that. And yeah, and I'm so glad that we still have those attractions available. How did we get on this like long random with Spaceship Earth today?
Well, it's Jason. I mean, Jason's asked about the refurb, but I mean, going back to World Showcase though, because we don't have a ton of questions, so we're good. But World Showcase, I think, is a great opportunity for kids that don't travel internationally, like my kids. I mean, we don't have passports, and we've never traveled except for cruises outside the country. I mean, dealing with international cast members, one of the greatest things was that Kid Cot Fun spot. We did that with Paige every trip, and Mallory as well, and as strange as that sounds, like they would stop at all 11 countries and they would get we bought them the little passport books. They get it stamped. They would color in the Duffy back in the day. Paige always did like 1/11th of the Duffy at every station, but she had to do the colors. We always made her, only color in the colors of that country's flag at that station. Right. So like in Canada, it could only be red and white, that part, and so forth. And, she would at least get to talk to and they would write her name on the stick, it's like a paint stick. So she would have to ask, the cast member from Canada and then from Japan to write her name on the stick in that country's, if it was a different kind of script, but she would interact with that person. And at least she has made a connection, small connection, for sure, but some kind of a connection. Sometimes they talk to you more or less, but the thing is, as a parent, that's where you would take them through the pavilion. And, if you're in Germany, you could talk about, they make clocks in Germany. That's one of the things they're known for. And you go into the shop and talk about the cuckoo clocks and the different kinds of clocks and the glassware. And, it's just, but that's where, a parent has the opportunity, because we do have German areas in St. Louis, but do we go there? No, not very much. We should, but boom, you can go to Germany, you can go into Italy. There are things to explore. And like, Scott's did the, 80 $80 through World Showcase experience. That's the kind of stuff where you can turn World Showcase not only being fun but educational on a trip. It's really an opportunity. That whole thing with your kids is great. I love it.
It is, and I think too, like you sort of underplay those things like food and shopping as if that is not what a big part of every country's culture is. Food and shopping, the goods that they make there, the things that are available. Like that is what a big part of people's culture is. There's there's entertainment, which again, Epcot does have in certain countries too, but there's, that is a part of culture. So I don't think you can like say that's not worthy.
Yeah. Because, some people travel internationally a lot. We never have. And that's great to be able to try, different foods because that's our opportunity, like we just haven't, a lot of times. So we get to try it at Epcot. And I know it's not the real thing, but it's, it's better than nothing. It's a great exploration for kids, I think, too.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. So for Dennis, real quick, what direction are you walking World Showcase when you come through the front gate? Does your answer change if you come through the International Gateway? I always go to Mexico first. What about you guys? If you're coming through the front?
Just depends on what I need to do. Like if I'm going there and I have an ADR at Le Cellier, I'm going to go to Canada.
Well, yeah, like if I have no like set plan, like I always go Mexico first.
I tend to go to the left to Mexico. Yes.
Yeah.
Got to start with that margarita.
Yeah, I know. I'm always going for like nachos or something. Maybe margarita.
My confession is I do not have one way that I go more than others. It's just how the mood strikes me that day, really and truly. And it also sort of depends on what's going on. Like at Food and Wine, when that's going on, we tend to go to the right first. And I don't know why. There must be something to the right that we're trying to get to that we like. And I prefer to go in through International Gateway, though. That's my favorite.
100%.
Now, if I'm going through the International Gateway, I turn right and head to France because it's just it seems like it's more target rich because otherwise you're going to end up towards Future World quicker because you're just going to hit UK and Canada. I guess then you could just scoot right back to Mexico. Around, yeah, I didn't think about that. And
depends on if you want to get a pint first.
Yeah. During a festival too, that like little area between Canada and Mexico is kind of target rich.
And sometimes there is a festival going on too, if you go to like the cut through to Imagination too, there's something there that's good
for the kids.
I know. I like it when, remember, right after it reopened and like the festival was all up in that front area too. Like that was kind of cool as well. Maybe that was because they were still doing so much construction, but still, I really liked that as well.
Remember when they had that ESPN booth that had all the sports food?
Like the chicken wings and stuff?
Yeah, man, that'd be a good one for this weekend. Oh, let's go. All right, we got to wrap this, but we're going to be back on Friday. And Friday, I think you're going to like Friday's show because we're going to do a continuation on last Friday's show, making some comparisons because Pam wasn't here and we got to get her in on the fun. But we're going to expand it out a little bit. So get ready. We're going to keep it rolling a little bit bigger, a little bit more expansive on that comparisons idea for Friday's podcast. So don't forget, all of our shows brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line adventures. Don't forget, Disneyland available to book packages for 2026. Those are on the table right now. And Disney Cruise Line itineraries for late 2026 and early 2027 for Castaway Club members this week and general public starting on Tuesday, September 2nd. So if you want to get in on that, all the action's happening for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link as you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. Couldn't do it without your support. You can support us for just $5 a month. And for that, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. You can follow us on the social media. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on X.com, Instagram, and Threads. You can follow Scott in the same places at EpScott. That's EPSCOT. Pam is at TMFLT Pam. You can also check out Scott on his YouTube channel. That's Must See Adventures. Scott, real quick, what's happening on the channel this week as you head out to sea?
Yeah, we're wrapping up our Hawaii trip. It took a long time. It takes a long time to edit a video. I just gotta say, like when you're editing like an hour-long video with music and all that, it takes a long time. But we just wrapped up the Hawaii series. So if you're curious about Aulani or anything on Oahu, go back and check out. It's 12 episodes long. To keep you entertained this Labor Day weekend. So give it a like and subscribe. Must See Adventures.
There you go. Must See Adventures. Like and subscribe over the long holiday. It's not a bank holiday. It's just like our UK friends.
But I understand if you want to watch some football too. But don't forget. But afterwards, after your team wins, I'm not going to say lose because everyone's winners, right? After your team wins, go check out the channel.
That's right. It's a good point. All right. So check that out. And don't forget, we'll have a show for you on Friday. Going to be a lot of fun. So until then, for Scotty G and Pam Forrester, I'm Mike. You guys have a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.